Welcome back, everyone. This is Mr. Tipton, and today we are finally going to start solving equations. In elementary school, you learned how to solve very basic one-step equations, and this is the next step up from one step. It's solving two-step equations. All right, I'm not exactly sure. I know you had different elementary school teachers, so they all probably taught you a different way, different methods, different strategies for solving. I'm going to teach you mine. 5 steps for solving two-step equations. Step 1, where's the variable? Make sure you know where the variable is. Is it on the left side or the right side of the equation? It's the equal sign that separates the two sides. Okay? Number 2, what's happening? We look at what's happening with the variables. Step 3, save the term with the variable for last. And again, you'll get to see all of these in the examples we're going to do. Step 4, how do I undo? Undo with the opposite. And number 5, what you do to one side, you must do to the other side. And these green words on the right side of the screen, point, brain, butterfly, and wax, those are some actions that I have that go with the different steps. Tough to show you right now, but if you ask me about them in class, I'd be more than happy to show you. Pause this if you need to, make sure you get all the steps written down, and refer back to the 5 steps as you're solving. So here we go. Solving a two-step equation. Here we go. All right. Example 1, we've got 6 is equal to a over 4 plus 2. Step 1, where is the variable? Well, it's a, and it's right here. It's on the right side of the equation. Our goal in finding out what a is we have to get a by itself on one side of the equation. So we have to get rid of all this other stuff that's over here on the right side with the a. That's what step 2 is. What's with the variable? What's happening to the variable? Well, there's 2 things going on. The a is being divided by 4, and a 2 is getting added to it. Well, how do we know which thing to do first? Step 3 tells us which thing to do first. It says to save the term with the variable for last. The a being divided by 4, that's all one term, so that's where the variable is, so this is the thing that we're going to save for last. So the first thing that we have to get rid of is the positive 2. Step 4, how do I undo? Well, you undo with the opposite. What is the opposite of a positive 2? Negative 2 is the opposite. 2, so positive 2 and negative 2, those are going to cancel. All right, 2 minus 2 is 0. There's nothing there anymore. But because we're solving equations, we can't just cross out the 2 and be done with it. Things are supposed to be equal on both sides of the equation, so whatever we do to one side of the equation, we must do to the other. So because we subtracted 2 on the right, we have to subtract 2 on the left. So when we subtract 2 from both sides, we have 4 on the left. 6 minus 2 is 4. And on the right side, we still have our a divided by 4. The 2's canceled. That's what we have. Now it's a one-step equation like what you did in elementary school. Now what's with the a? What's happening to the a? It's being divided by 4. How do you undo dividing? By multiplying. Gotta do the opposite. Opposite of dividing is multiplying. And those are going to cancel. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 1 times a is a. And what you do to one side, you must do to the other side, so we need to multiply by 4, giving us 16 is equal to a. Or a is equal to 16. It doesn't matter which side the variable is on. They both mean the same thing. All right, you can always double check your answer by putting your solution back into the original problem. 6 equals 16 over 4 plus 2. Well, let's see. 16 over 4 is 4. And then 4 plus 2 is 6. So yeah, does 6 equal 6? It sure does. We must have done it right. Let's do another example. Lots of examples today. Here we have 9x minus 7 is equal to 20. Where's the variable? It's on the left. What's happening to the variable? It's being multiplied by 9. The 9 and the x are right next to each other and there's no symbol. That means they're being multiplied. And we also have a negative 7 stuck with it. Step 3, save the term with the variable for last. The 9 and the x are together, so first we're going to get rid of this negative 7. How do I undo? What's the opposite of negative 7? Positive 7. Those are going to cancel. And what you do to one side, you must do to the other side. Because we added 7 on the left, we're going to add 7 on the right. So our new equation, on the left side we still have a 9x, and on the right side we still have, or now we have 27. What's with the x? Multiplying by 9. How do we undo multiplying? By dividing. And those are going to cancel. What you do to one side, you must do to the other side. And we get our solution of x is equal to 3. Another example. Negative 5 plus x over 2 is equal to negative 4. The variable's on the left. It's being divided by 2 and has a negative 5 being added to it. We're going to save the term with the variable for last. So first, we're going to undo the negative 5. The opposite of a negative 5 is a positive 5. Those will cancel. What you do to one side, you must do to the other side. So on the left, we're going to have x over 2 is still there. On the right, we have a negative 4 and a positive 5. I think the positives are going to win that one by 1. Now what's with the x? It's being divided by 2. How do you undo division? With multiplying. That makes the 2's cancel. And what you do to one side, you must do to the other side. So x is equal to 1 times 2 is 2. A few more examples. 0 on the left this time. 0 is equal to 4 plus n over 5. Variables on the right being divided by 5, and we're adding 4. So save the term with the variable for last. So we're going to subtract 4 from both sides. On the left, 0 and negative 4 is negative 4. On the right we have n over 5. N's being divided by 5. So to undo dividing by 5, we multiply by 5. And if we multiply by 5 on the left, or I'm sorry, on the right, then we're going to multiply by 5 on the left and get negative 20 is equal to n. R is on the right. Save the term with the variable for last. How do we undo subtracting 5? By adding 5 to both sides. Positives are going to win that one by 1. And equals r over 20 on the right. We're dividing by 20, so we need to multiply by 20 to make it cancel. What you do to one side, you must do to the other side. So r is equal to 20. Pause these at any time. Replay them if you need to. it's important that you understand the 5 steps in solving two-step equations. This one's a little different. We have a 5 plus x in the numerator of a fraction and a 6 in the denominator. The variable's on the right, and there are still two things happening. We've got a positive 5 and we're dividing by 6. How do we know which one to do first? We save the term with the variable for last. Well, x is kind of over here by itself. What we're going to do first is we're going to get rid of the bottom part of this fraction first. Technically, the 5 and the x are kind of together because they're both on top. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply this whole thing. Because we're dividing by 6, we're going to multiply the whole thing by 6. And that's still going to make that denominator go away. So on the right side, what we're going to have is 5 plus x. Oh, let's not forget about the left side though. We multiplied by 6 on the right, so we multiply by 6 on the left. 6 times 1 is negative 6. And then we will subtract 5 to undo. Negatives are going to win this. Negative 6 and negative 5 gives us negative 11 is equal to x. Piece of cake. 2 more. Another one like that. Another where the 3's in the denominator. We want to get rid of that denominator. So we're going to multiply this whole thing by what? By 3. To make those 3's cancel. But what we do to one side, we must do to the other side. So we are going to be left with v plus 9 is equal to 24. Then how do you undo positive 9 with a negative 9? Subtract from both sides. 24 minus 9 gives us 15. V equals 15. Gosh, you're probably tired of these, but I don't even care. I'm going to do one more. Ooh, how's this one different? We've got a number being multiplied by parentheses. We need to use the distributive property before we can use our other steps. Simplify each side before you do anything to both sides. Okay? 2 times n is 2n. And 2 times 5 is 10. This is still equals negative 2. Now we know that our two things that are happening to the variable, we're multiplying by 2 and we're adding 10. We're going to save the 2n for last because that's where the variable is. So how do we undo positive 10 with a negative 10? What you do to one side, you do to the other side. On the left, we still have 2n. On the right, we've got negative 2, and negative 10 is negative 12. How do you undo multiplying by 2? Got to divide by 2. What you do to one side, you must do to the other side. N is equal, signs are different, so it's going to be negative. 12 divided by 2 is 6. Lots of examples here, but we're going to practice this a lot. It's a big deal. Got to know how to solve a two-step equation. If you have questions, write them down. Be ready to talk about them tomorrow. We'll see you then.